Well, it's fancy to meet you here on this Halloween day. I hope that whatever you do for Halloween, whether it's going trick or treating, going out with friends, or whatever it is, that you're safe and that you are able to have a very scary but safe Halloween. Tonight, however, we're going to be reading two creepypastas because I have decided that maybe every Halloween I will read a creepypasta that I have never heard of, or one that is about something I'm invested in. And at the moment, that is Megaman, which should not be a shock. I was gonna do a whole iceberg on Battle Network until the files got lost, which I'm still very annoyed about. I think it was like a year in the making, but whatever. It is what it is. So today we have two Mega Man stories. The first one is called Reaper Scythe Dark Chip, and the other one will be called Mega Man X The Red Cartridge. So I hope you enjoy. Maybe turn down the lights, go grab a snack or something, and try not to get scared by these next two videos, these next two stories that I'm going to read. I was studying for a math test one night. It was around 7 when I heard the phone ringing. I heard my mom calling me downstairs, telling me my friend was on the other line. He told me that he just got back from Gameland with a copy of Mega Man Battle Network 4 Blue Moon, my boy, and he wanted to tell me all about it. I knew he was excited about the game and everything, but I was kind of tired and I wanted to focus on my homework before 9:30. So I told him he should come bring the game over tomorrow after school. The next day, school ended early on the count of summer. On the count of summer was 2 days away. Me and my friend headed over to my parents' house to play some games on my GameCube. I had a Game Boy player, but I wanted us to play some Kirby's Air Ride for a while. But my friend insisted on showing me the effects from the cheat codes he found for Mega Man Battle Network 4. Now, my friend and I recently started getting into the Battle Network series about a year ago since he played the first 3 installments, which I personally don't have anything against. It's just that I never got into any of the BattleNet games long enough because the beginning felt so drawn out and was boring to me before I got to the actual gameplay. Granted, that's because I started playing with the side-scroller platforms, but I don't want to hurt his feelings by saying something like I prefer the gaming styles of the original Mega Man and Mega Man X series of BattleNet. This is very weird. This is worded incredibly weird. But my friend was more interested in the cheat codes ever since his older brother taught him the 30 lives code on the classic NES Contra, and since then he wanted to know more about them. He would often go on a site called cheatcodes.com and try out many different codes for each game he had. I decided to let him play first for a while and to give Battle Network a second chance. At first, I wasn't too thrilled about seeing Mega Man in an overworld perspective until I saw the random encounter system and the battle phase sequence. The whole RPG aspect of the game quickly changed mind, and I just wanted to try out a couple of battles. After he saved the game, gave me a shot of trying out a few battles as well. I wasn't very good, but he walked me through the game's basics, battle phase of killing viruses, using battle chips, and how to get the best scores after a battle. I had a lot of fun, and we ended up losing track playing Battle Network 4 for the rest of the day. About a week later, I got a call from my friend telling me he found a rare exclusive cheat code at this one gaming site he found. The code was supposed to activate some kind of deleted cutscenes in a beta dark chip merchant that should have been completely removed. He wanted to show me he had a chance to try it out for a few days. After that, I haven't heard from him within about a month. It's not the first time he's spent playing a game for long periods of time. But even still, but still, but still, even then, he would call me occasionally. I couldn't help thinking about it, and it was kind of odd that he didn't call or anything, and I was starting to get worried the more I thought about it. I decided to go over his friend's house and find out about what was going on. I knocked on the door, and his mom came out instead. I started to ask if he was home when I saw her wiping tears from her face. I was a little afraid to ask why she was crying, and sure enough, she told me she got back from the hospital after visiting him in intensive care. I jumped back on my bike and rushed home. I panically asked my mom to take me to the hospital and visit my friend. She grabbed her keys and we drove over as quickly as possible. I went to the room where he was staying in. It was the worst. It was worse than I ever could have imagined. He had stitches on part of his body and was hooked up to life support. The doctor said they found him lying on the floor unconscious with deep scars all over his body. But they managed to get him here just in time, but his vital signs were still pretty weak. I sat next to my friend for what seemed like hours as I talked to him, hoping in some way he could still hear me. He finally opened his eyes, but he looked at me with this level of fear I have never seen him express before. He kept saying, "He's coming to kill me," over and over again, until his vital signs started to crash. That's when the doctors came rushing in and said that I had to go back home while they tried to stabilize him. I was terrified, and I was terrified I was going to lose my best friend. I had to find out what did this to him. So I decided to go over to his house the next day to see if I could find something. I asked his mom if I can go into his room, and she allowed me to go through. I looked all over his room until I saw his DS Lite smashed on the floor and broken to the point to where it was unplayable with a copy of Battle Network 4 inside, still in near perfect condition somehow, next to 4 pieces of paper torn together. The papers looked like they had some weight writing on both sides. I grabbed the game and the pieces of paper and headed back home. I went to my mom and took some tap to put the pieces of paper. Took some time to put the pieces of paper together. There were 8 numbers and something written on the back of the paper that read "The Ultimate Dark Chip." I wanted to know if this was an exclusive cheat code that he was talking about. Why would he tear something up and break his DS Lite? It's not like him to do something like this for no reason. The only way I'd find out, I know for sure, was to try it out myself. I put the game in my Game Boy player and saw the option to pick new game or continue. I selected continue, and it started me in Higsby's shop in front of the Numberman Lotto code machine. I inputted the code, and a text box appeared with a question mark indicating a mystery character telling me to go check the undernet and to look out for the net merchant. I explored the undernet for a while talking to every merchant I ran into, but each one I talked to said they ran out of stock. I was beginning to think this game was messing with me, and all the viruses I kept running into added to my increasing frustration. I was about to give up and call it a night when I saw the net merchant that looked kind of odd, like an unfinished or half-deleted sprite character. I didn't want to go straight up to it because I was afraid it was going to crash the game or something, so I saved first before talking to it. The music cut off suddenly, and a text box appeared with a mangled character image saying, "You're looking for the strongest ship ever created?" And the store selection menu appeared. The only thing he had to sell was an item called Reaper Death's ID for 8,000 zen. I'm really bad with like numbers, like reading stuff like this, like commas. I pressed the R button to know what exactly this item was, and it said, "Granted to kill all foes from any space in one hit." Luckily, my friend has saved up more than enough zennies to afford it, but the item itself looked really creepy. The image showed a Grim Reaper holding a crimson-colored scythe while draining the life out of Megaman. But the way Megaman looked in the image was especially creepy. His armor was a very faded color, half of his lower body was disappearing into data bits, and he was It's like he was being deleted and tears were running down his lifeless, colored face. I hesitated to get this dark chip at first just because of how creepy it looked alone, but I was strangely curious enough to know why this item was such a big deal and to see what it could do in battle. I bought the item and the internet area started shaking for a while, followed by that creepy Drake's mansion theme. A text box appeared. I hate having such C words. Appeared with a mystery image question mark again, saying, "In your possession, you hold." Sorry, in your possession, you hold a forbidden power. Don't take it too lightly. For when it comes with a heavy price, if you don't heed my warnings, I will come to collect. And then the game froze for a while. I thought the game broke and I was about to reset the game when the screen flickered for a few seconds and then it stopped and faded to a scene of Lan waking up out of bed to the sound of the pet going off. A text box with a scared Megaman appeared and the following discussion took place. Lan, how could you? Lan, huh? What are you talking about? What did I do? Megaman, you of all people should know how dangerous dark chips are, and getting the Reaper Scythe dark chip was a bad idea, and we don't know how badly it could affect me. Lan, I don't remember getting this, but I'm not planning on using it anytime soon. Besides, do you really think this dark chip is much more dangerous than any other dark chip? Megaman, maybe. I get the feeling there's something more to this than just another dark chip. It feels more ominous than any of the dark chips we've come across Lan. Lan, I know what you mean. I get chills just looking at it. Megaman, Lan, I want you to promise me you'll never use this chip, and that goes double for you. As I read the last bit of text, I sort of felt uneasy reading it. Did Megaman just really talk to me now? I thought for a moment. Nah, it's probably some error in translation or something, as I pressed it off. But, and sure as I pressed the A button, Megaman said, "Yes, you, the player holding the GameCube controller. I don't want the same thing happening to you like your friend, so I'm giving you the same warning I gave him." I freaked out. I dropped the controller on the floor and ran up the road to my parents screaming. I told them the game was talking to me, and as you would expect in any other typical parent reaction, they thought I made it up, as they said I was using my imagination to get some attention and that I should take a break from playing video games for a while. My parents turned off the TV and told me to go ride my bike for a little while. It hurt me that they didn't believe me, but looking back at it, I thought maybe I was overreacting and was just stressed out. I went back to my room an hour later and saw the light of my GameCube was still on. My parents mustn't have noticed my GameCube was still on, I thought to myself. As I was about to turn it off, I was kind of curious to see if the text was still there, so I turned the TV on and saw that it was gone. But Lan was still standing in the middle of the room. I thought maybe I'd play a little bit more before turning it off. As I saved the game and had Lan go over to his PC and jack Megaman into the net, I had a Megaman wandering all over ADC areas 1, 2, and 3, trying to get some more practice with the combat style of the game, so I can get good enough to do more exploring all over the cyber world. I must have been playing for a couple of hours because when I looked on my clock, it was around 10 o'clock. I can get a few more battles in before going to bed, and I logged Megaman out and jacked him back in to look for more mystery green data. I was exploring ADC Area 3 a few times over when Megaman stopped and stood in place for a brief moment, and before the screen faded to white like another random battle encounter. But the music was different, and this orange and yellow character with 2 large needles for arms appeared. He had 1,000 HP over his head, and I figured he was a boss. It took me a moment to quickly realize the character was a better-known version of Sparkman. I was quite surprised to randomly encounter a boss in the middle of an ordinary place like the ADC area. Obviously, you have not played Megaman, we don't know how this works. I figured I'd try to use what I know so far and beat him call tonight. But as soon as the battle started, Sparkman started moving all over the area, launching attacks everywhere. Since he was the first boss I faced in this game, I wasn't familiar with his movement and patterns, and he kept hitting me with attack after attack. Every time I used the battle chip, he would move to the right when I used and miss him completely. I got pretty angry getting beat by Sparkman. My HP was pretty low, and I barely got any hits on Sparkman. I looked to the top left of the screen and saw Megaman's facial synchronizer had an upset expression with a dark yellow background. When the custom gauges full, I saw 2 additional dark chips appear in the remaining blank spaces. These chips were Dark Recovery 1000 and Dark Sword 400. I went over to one of these chips and the screen got darker with this creepy sound that kept looping. I went back to the one of the regular battle chips and the screen went back to normal. I was kind of interested in those dark chips, but I didn't want to mess up and end up. But I didn't want to miss and end up wasting one of them. Before I knew it, I ended up. I used up every normal battle chip I had and barely took any HP away from Sparkman. I only had 1 HP left and my only option was to use those dark chips. But this time, both of the dark chips were Reaper Scythe D. Looking at the image again, it made me a bit nervous. It made me a bit nervous and scared. I really didn't want to have to use that thing, but I didn't have any other option left because if I didn't get a chance to save the game. Plus, Sparkman was really annoying, and I wanted to take him out in one hit. As soon as I selected one of those dark chips, I heard a loud buzzing noise coming from my GameCube, and the game started to lag a bit as the screen turned darker for a short while. Megaman began to levitate off the ground, and those dark purple orbs of light started to appear all over him as he started to struggle to break free. The first orb entered Megaman's chest and he let out a yell of agony that made me cringe just hearing him suffer from my TV speakers. Alright. The rest of the sparks entered his body one by one as Megaman continued to cry out in pain until there was no more color left and his armor turned black. Looking at Megaman's facial synchronizer now, I saw the most evil and sinister looking expression I have ever seen. He had pitch black eyes with glowing red pupils and a pure white face. Those eyes were staring right at me with a frightening grin. Sparkman was still attacking, and I started pressing the D-pad in every direction, but Megaman wouldn't move. He just stood there in the center of the area as the attacks didn't seem to phase him. I pressed the A button for a brief moment. For a brief moment, his hand turned into a black scythe with a dark bluish purple glow around it. He did a sword swinging animation and it covered the entire enemy side. Then the screen froze for a while. I thought the game broke, so I pressed the Z button to restart the Game Boy player, but the screen started spazzing out a couple times. I started to go over to turn the GameCube off when I heard something sounding like meat getting brutally pierced. What? What does that even sound like? Alright, whatever. Shortly after that, this creepy, distorted music started playing. I swear to God, if you say the Kefka music, I'm gonna flip my desk. I couldn't make out what it was at first, but it was playing a slowed pitch, and the pitch was a bit low. But sure enough, I recognized it as the dark Draki Mansion's theme in reverse. The screen started spazzing out at a rapid pace before the music suddenly cut off, and a gruesome image of Sparkman appears. It showed his needles and arms ripped out of their joints and jammed into his eye sockets all the way through the other side of his skull. What the? I was a little nauseous from looking at that image, eventually fading to black, and the screen went back to ADC Towns 3 Overworld. And Mega Man was Mega Man was... Mega Man was on his hands and knees as his body was surrounded by a dark purple aura with a glowing white orb orbiting around him, and a text box appeared with an image of a very upset Lan. Lan. Mega Man? Mega Man! What happened? Are you okay? Answer me, Mega Man! Mega Man doesn't respond. What? Lan, Mega Man, please, don't die on me. I don't know what I'd do without you. Mega Man! Mega Man! Reading that text made me think about my friend in the hospital, and I started feeling a mixture of fear and sadness. I couldn't take the emotional tension from the cutscene anymore, so I went over and yanked the plugs out of the wall sockets and went to bed. As I laid in bed, I couldn't go to sleep right away. I started looking around my pitch dark room with nothing but the sound of silence looming over the darkness. I started feeling paranoid, thinking about someone else was in my room, watching me. I began hearing that creepy Drake's theme playing in my head as I grew more and more unsettled. Then I stayed up around midnight with my fears getting the better of me. I grabbed my remote so I could watch a little TV to calm myself enough to get some sleep, but the TV wouldn't come on. As soon as I remembered that the TV was unplugged, I was too scared to move. I hid my head under my covers, closed my eyes, and I fell asleep. I dreamt that I was at the hospital room where my friend is. I was relieved to see that he was still alive, resting in bed. Everything was fine until I heard some deep voice from the undernet. He said, "You should have heeded my warnings. Now you will pay the price." Just like before, my friend screaming in agony. His stitches were breaking as something appeared to be stretching his limbs wide apart. I panicked and I shouted as loudly as I could for someone to come in and help him. But no one came as I continued crying out for anyone to hurry and help. Soon after, I heard his vitals crashing. I could literally feel the tears running down the sides of my face as I watched his life slip away. Shortly after, I heard a deep cackling voice coming from the other side of the room. I looked over where it was coming from, and I saw the dark figure beginning to manifest itself next to my friend. I shouted, "Get the hell away from him! Leave him alone!" As it raised his hand over his lifeless body and a white orb appeared out of his body. All I could do was watch as I stood frozen in fear. I started hearing my friend's faint voice speaking. "Please help. It's so dark and cold in here. I'm scared. I don't want to go. I'm afraid to die." The dark figure instantly appeared right in front of me and said, "I'll be collecting your soul soon enough." And then it reached out and grabbed my throat, and I woke up screaming with my hands somehow around my neck. I have never felt so afraid of a nightmare in my whole life. My face was wet with fresh tears. I heard my parents run towards my room as they came rushing in shortly after. "What's the matter? We heard you screaming. Are you okay?" And they asked me as I started to wipe tears from my eyes. I told them about the nightmare and how I was afraid about something bad happening to my friend. But just like before, they brushed it off like I was overreacting about some silly dream. Just get more to bro. Your parents are assholes, man. Your parents are assholes. I was so angry that they couldn't see how I was clearly feeling. Yeah, amen. Amen. The only other time I needed them the most, and they treated it like some kind of joke. But I told my mom that she would take me to the hospital the next... What? But my mom told me she would take me over to the hospital next week on her... I have words to say after this is over. On her off day, I'm going to assume, is what they meant to put. I went over to the window to get some fresh air as I looked down the street. Sometimes I would get this feeling my friend would be coming down the street any moment. I guess these kind of feelings were to be expected when your best friend's in a hospital bed for so long. After a week passed, me and my mom went over to the hospital. We were going through the entrance when I saw my friend's mom being escorted by 2 doctors as she was crying heavily, looking like an emotional wreck. I feared the worst and ran into my friend's room as fast as I could. When I got there, the nurses were changing the sheets on an empty bed where my friend used to be. "Where's my friend?" I asked, and the nurse replied that he's gone. I was slightly traumatized by her answer, and I wasn't sure what she meant. I asked, "What do you mean by gone?" As I started to get upset, that's when the doctor came in with a sad look on his face. "I'm sorry to tell you this, but a few nights ago, your friend passed away. His vital organs suddenly crashed. We did all we could do for him. I'm terribly sorry for your loss." After hearing my best friend was dead, I was in a state of shock, as I felt a mixed feeling of sadness, anger, and depression. I heard my mom trying to comfort me as she gave me a hug and said how sorry she was, and how she took my hand and walked me to the car and went back home. 2 months have passed since the death of my friend. My parents are checking me more often now to make sure I was doing alright, and I would always respond with, "I'm fine," as I would sometimes find myself wondering, where was that concern when I needed it? Even though my parents were there now, I still felt alone, keeping all of these emotions bottled up inside. One afternoon, my parents had to work overtime at their jobs. They told me they were going to be coming home much late, and they gave me the phone numbers of their jobs in case something happened. Then they went to get dressed and left a little while later. I went over to the window and watched their cars go in opposite directions to their jobs. As I looked down at the street where me and my friend used to... Where me and my friend used to take getting over there. Looking at it now, it fills me with depression knowing that he's gone forever. I sat back down at the foot of my bed. I looked over at my GameCube with a copy of Megaman Battle Number 4 still inside the Game Boy the Game Boy player slot. I suddenly had this feeling to play it again. Maybe it was to ease my grieving heart, or the fact that it was the last game him and I shared when he was alive. I turned the Game Boy player on and started to continue. It started me in Lan's room with his dad standing next to his son while he had awoken. "Dad, good morning. Morning, Lan. Lan, Dad, how's Megaman? Will he be okay? Dad, he's fine for now, but that dark chip has corrupted his programming in a way I've never seen before. I managed to isolate the effects temporarily to prevent it from spreading any further, but without a permanent cure, I'm afraid the effects of the dark chip will change him completely. Lan, no! Dad, isn't there anything you can do to cure Megaman? Dad, I don't know, Lan. I've done all I could do for him, but I've never seen this type of corruption. You should probably avoid net battling. Otherwise, that dark chip could activate again, and you'll end up losing Megaman for good." His dad left the room with Lan tried calling out to Megaman a couple of times. After a while, Megaman finally started up to slowly calling out to Lan. Grandma, this is awful. Lan, Megaman, you had me worried sick. How are you feeling? Megaman, I feel kind of strange, but I'm still okay to do some virus busting. Lan, hold on. Dad said there isn't a cure for what's affecting you. If you take critical damage and that dark chip activates again, I might lose you forever. Megaman, don't worry, Lan. We've been battling through worse before. Plus, I wouldn't let that happen. I promise. Lan, alright, let's go. Let's go. Lan walked to his computer and jacked... I'm literally 12. I'm literally 12. And jacked Megaman into the net. Oh my god, I'm literally 12 years old. Land walked over to his computer and jacked Mega Man into the net. But the game started glitching a couple of times. I thought I saw a sad, ghostly face appear the few times it glitched. But I thought I was just seeing things. Soon afterwards, I went to Dex's PC HUD instead of Land's. Then Gutsman appeared in front of Mega Man in the middle of the area. I walked over to him, and another cutscene began. Alright, do not judge me for my Gutsman voice, because I don't know what voice I'm gonna give him, but just, I don't know. Whatever it is, don't judge me, alright? I'm a one-man army. Hey, Mega Man! Dex just gave me a... Hey, Mega Man! Dex just gave me a new updated for my combat program. Let's battle. Guts! The option for yes or no came up. I selected no a few times, but every time I did, Dex would say, "Oh, come on, Lan! Quit being scared. Quit being such a scared little baby in net battle." I wasn't in the mood to battle him, and it really annoyed me that he would let me deny this battle. So I selected yes, and Dex made another smart remark. Then the battle began. I wanted to beat that jerk, but the game didn't let me set up my folder, so I had to battle with chips that caused small amounts of damage. Gutsman slammed his hammer into the ground, cracking my whole battle area, preventing me from moving while he threw his fist, putting my HP close to near death. There wasn't much I could do except for wait for the custom gauge to fill up, but the battle chip selection came up. Every battle chip was crossed out with the black X's except for the dark chips. I didn't want to use them after what happened last time, but I didn't want to lose that battle. Just like before, both of them were Reaper Scythe. But when I chose one of them, the music cut out and Mega Man was surrounded by that dark purple aura again, even though I didn't activate it yet. But despite my better judgment, I used the dark chip anyway, and Mega Man did the same attack animation before the screen froze. But a little while after that, the screen started blinking rapidly, and I heard this loud, unnerving sound of a body getting torn and snapping off all of a sudden. Snap. And snapping off all of a sudden. That startled me. Then there's a graphic image of Gutsman laying on the ground with his jaw ripped off and his eyes rolled back appeared. This image made me feel kind of sick to my stomach as I thought, I didn't mean for that to happen. It was an accident. Before the screen faded back to Dex's HUD. A text box appeared with a crying and upset Dex image. Dex, why, Lan? I just wanted to have a friendly net battle with you. You didn't have to go. Wait, what? You didn't have to go out and kill Gutsman like that, you jerk! Lan, Dex, wait, I'm sorry. It was an accident. Mega Man, I'm sorry, Lan. I blacked out and... Lan, I should have never risked jacking you into the net. I'm logging out now. God, please, you guys have to fix this. As the Mega Man was warped from Dex's PC HUD, I heard this strange noise sounding like a disc was getting scratched coming from a GameCube before Mega Man was redirected to Yaz's PC HUD. Glade shortly appeared and the text box came back up with his face looking quite disturbed. Glide. Mega Man! Miss Yao heard a commotion over at Dex's house. Has something happened over there? Mega Man. Glide. What's the matter? Is something wrong? Mega Man looked like he was in some kind of trance, and the colors of his sprite began to turn dark. And then he started shooting at Glide. Jesus. And the eye screen as her nav was being... Yeah, Lan, what are you doing to Glide? Stop it! Get him out of there! Lan, Mega Man, stop it! Log out now! Thank you. I'm saying a lot of stuff jacked out because it's gonna make me giggle every time you say that. But he continued firing until the Glide collapsed on the ground. I started tearing up as Yad calls out to her Navi, but he didn't reply back as the image displayed Glide's dead expression in the text box. That's not funny. That's not funny. Yai was crying dramatically as she started blaming Lan for the death of Glide. Yes, Guy, this is all your fault, man. If I ever meet you or your stupid Navi, if I never met you or your stupid Navi, Glide would still be alive. I hate you both. Lan, I'm sorry. Damn it, Mega Man. Why didn't you listen to me? Ah! Why didn't you listen to me? Why did you kill Glide? Mega Man, what? No! I didn't mean to, I swear! It was a prank, bruv! Have you never heard of a prank? Have you never heard of a little gasp? I couldn't control myself. I'm so sorry, Lan. No, Mega Man. This is all of his fault. The screen comes back to Lan's room with him standing in the middle of the room, facing towards me. Lan, why are you doing this to Mega Man? He's my best friend and my brother. And you forced him to use that dark chip even though he clearly warned you. I'm begging you to stop before you end up like your friend. I dropped my controller to the floor as soon as I stared at the screen in disbelief. It was clearly alive, telling me not to continue. But it seemed too crazy to be true. At any cost, I didn't want to play the game anymore. And so I went to unpull the plugs out of the wall again, but the cords were really hot for some reason, and I burned my hand. It was like the game didn't want to be turned off. I tried to leave, but the door was stuck and I couldn't get... I was trapped and scared with no way out. I saw the text box appear above the screen, but I didn't want to touch the controller. I was nowhere near it. Lan, Mega Man, I need you to log out before you attack anyone else. I wish we never got that dark chip. Mega Man, me too, Lan. I'm scared of what that dark chip is turning me into. Lan, it's too dangerous to let you roam the net in your condition. You might end up deleting another innocent net navi again. I want you to log out right now and shut the pet off until Dad gets back. Mega Man. Lan, what's wrong, Mega Man? Log out. Mega Man? Just then, Mega Man's image began to change into... Just then, Mega Man's image began to change on that text box to that... His image? His image! I'm sorry. His image... Oh wait, okay, I just read on it. Just then, Mega Man's image began to change on the text box, and that creepy Drake's Mansion theme started playing again. His armor was now a dark lavender color. His face was pure white, and he had eyes with those red, piercing pupils and that sinister grin on his face. Mega Man, not yet, lad. I can still kill the one that used... You know what? I'm just gonna read it as it is because I don't know how often I can keep moving his voice. Not yet, line. I can still kill the one that used the one responsible for this. The screen switched back to Mega Man as Lan tried calling him back to his pet, but Mega Man ignores it as he warps to the next area. All I could do was watch as he appeared in Mail's... I can never pronounce... Mai's... PC had fine roll. She turned around and was startled by seeing Mega Man out of nowhere. Roll. Oh, Mega, you surprised me. What brings you here? Mega Man. I'm not sure. I was about to log off, actually, when I started feeling strange and found myself here. The screen flashed a few times, and Roll fell to her knees like her energy was being drained just from standing near him. I found myself yelling at the screen for Roll to get out of there. Roll, please! Please! Get out of there! Roll, what's going on? I feel kind of strange. Mega Man, what? Mega Man, what's the matter, Roll? Not feeling well? Lan, Mail! Lan, what's the matter? Why are you yelling? There's something wrong with Mega Man. He's out of control. Log Roller right now before he deletes her. Hurry! Mail, what? Is this some kind of joke? It's not funny, Lan. Meat Canyon type beat. Land. I'm not kidding. Please, Mail. Before you lose, roll like Dex and my lost. Just before Mail could do anything. And Megaman raised his arms straight up, and the screen started to flicker purple static a few times until the HUD turned completely pitch black. Roll. Mega, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Megaman, so that your operator can't log you out until one of us dies in this net battle. When the what is this, a shadow game? When the battle began, I didn't realize how long the server was going to be either. When the battle began, the game started me as Roll with 1,000 HP, this time fighting against Megaman with 20,000 HP. A text box appeared with Roll's image having a very frightened expression. Roll. Stop this, Mega. I don't want to battle you like this. Go back to land so he can help you. Megaman, I can't hold back the dark ship's power any longer. It's taking control over me. You have to delete me now. It's the only way. The battle chip selection screen came up with the first chip I saw on the battle chip selection menu came up with the first chip I saw on the screen was being a Recovery 300. I nervously walked back to the bed and picked up the controller. My heart was pounding rapidly. My hands were shaking, my knees were weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready. As I picked each battle chip carefully. When the first phase started, I soon found out Roll's basic attacks didn't have range. I had to wait for Megaman to get close enough for it to hit. His movements were unpredictable, and he would use a variety of battle chips, one after another, and each of them dealt a lot of damage. But unfortunately, her attack recovers some of her HP every time, and I had plenty of recovery battle chips. I was holding my own. But after phase 2 began, I started having a eerie feeling as I heard the boss theme began to slow in pace. Megaman had that creepy dark aura surrounding him again. Then 2 light glowing orbs appeared orbiting around him. I kept fighting as I used chip after chip trying to keep my HP high to deal damage to him. But my custom gauge filled up and my battle chip menu came up by itself. I thought I must have hit L or R by accident, but I tried to select them, but it wouldn't let me. Then the screen began to twitch and spaz out a few times before it cleared up again. But the battle chip's image was gradually changed into horrid looks. The Recovery 300 image was a human heart. The barrier had an image of a hand sticking out of the grave, and the Roll's chip image was a skeleton with some of his ribs cage broken and its arms spread out like it was meant to be a skeleton of Roll. When the third battle phase began, the boss music got even slower with the faint sound of a deep voice chuckling in the background. I started getting more and more unnerved as Megaman's armor color started to change back to dark lavender and another orb appeared. Megaman then went to the center of his area and stayed there like he was waiting for the phase to end. Roll's normal attack wouldn't reach beyond one square space. So I had to use those battle chips, but whenever I tried to use one of them, that time the screen would flash red for a brief moment with a slashing sound, and Roll's HP would drop by 300. I hoped it was only a glitch. I really wish it was, but my battle chips were rendered useless. When the third phase started, the boss music cut off entirely and was replaced with reverse Draki's theme as another glowing orb appears. His face now pure white once more with those black and red eyes enveloped in that dark aura. A text box appeared of him appearing to be staring at me with that evil grin on his face and those red orbs too. Megaman, sorry, Roll, but I've told you long enough. It's time I add your soul to my collection. Roll, I won't let you. Please, Mega, you have to snap out of this. We're friends, don't you remember me? We're also lovers. Mega Man. I would spare you, but then I wouldn't be doing my job now, would I? Goodbye, friend. Once again, Mega Man used that Scythe and did his attack animation, and the screen started to lag before it froze. The image stayed a bit longer than the others before I cut to black, and everything was quiet for a while. I could hear my heart beating faster until my chest began to ache as I anticipated the next horrible image. After like a minute of silence, I began to wonder if the game finally stopped working. Then I started to hear sounds of a faint, constant stabbings getting louder and louder, while the girl was screaming in pain, followed by her cries of agony and suffering, as I only could imagine what Mega Man was doing to Roll. I couldn't take it anymore. I tried turning off the TV, but the power button on the remote and the TV. Oh my god! You know, I might have to just do this one as its own thing. My lord, I didn't think I was gonna be here for like 40 minutes. I tried turning off the TV, but the power button on the remote and the TV itself wouldn't work, and I couldn't get the sound either. I was afraid to try removing the plug because I didn't want to get burnt again. I closed my eyes and tightly stuck my fingers in my ears trying to drown out the sound, but I could still hear it like it was coming from everywhere now. Then everything was silent. I laid on my bed, curled up thinking one reason for this sudden silence. I was afraid to open my eyes for the fear of my assumption being correct. I took a deep breath and slowly opened my eyes, facing towards the wall where they were lit up with the red glow coming from the TV screen. I slowly faced the screen and saw Roll's arms and legs were cut off. Her head had multiple stabs and deep cuts over her body as she was suspended by that black scythe that's gone through her back and her chest, with Mega Man standing behind her with that evil, frightening grin. Her face had the expression of going through a state of shock, looking at the scythe sticking out of her chest as she had tears streaming down her face. As I watched that horrid image, I could feel her sadness and fear. I looked away, even though I started to, for a few seconds, that image left a permanent scar in my memories. Oh, whoa. Wait, what? Oh my god, I lost my... Okay, alright. Here we go. I just sat there hoping that it would all go away. My body was trembling with this indescribable fear. I thought I was having a panic attack at one point. Everything was quiet for a while, not until I heard the Dracu's Reverse theme playing once more. I was too scared to move from the foot of the bed. Won't this hellish nightmare ever end? I thought to myself. I had to see it at some point as I took a deep breath and I slowly raised my head and looked at the screen. There was Mega Man's dark character sprite standing in the center of Miles' PC with that dark velvet aura emanating from his body within it, and now with 5 glowing orbs circling him, the souls of his victims. Soon the text box appeared with an image of a very upset Land. Mega Man, how could you do that to Roll? How could you do such a horrible thing to one of your closest friends? To all of our friends! Answer me, damn you! Mega Man responded in ellipses with a sickening look of enjoyment in his eyes. Land kept calling out in anger until Mega Man finally spoke. I am no longer your net navi. My only purpose now is to tame enough souls required to have a solid form of reality. And I don't need you anymore. Oh my god. He raised his hands and his aura shot up towards the sky. The screen cut to Land Sprite getting electrocuted before his corpse dead on the floor. And then the screen cut back to Megaman as another soul orb appeared circling around him. And then he turned to face me with those black and red eyes as he started to be laughing. Then the last text back appeared with that image of Megaman staring at me with those psychotic with that psychotic grin on his face and those souls. This is all your fault. I wouldn't be like this if it wasn't for your carelessness. Now I'll return the favor by adding your soul to the collection, just like I did to your friend. I suddenly heard this loud scraping and buzzing noise coming from the GameCube, like the disc inside was being torn to shreds. As soon as the noise stopped, the TV shut off, and the room got dark again, with the street lamps outside shining through my window being the only light in the room. I could still hear that creepy music playing in my head over and over. Looking at my nearly dark room, I felt like I was being watched as I could see figures appear out of the corner of my eye, only to find them to be nothing more than piles of clothes and junk. Then the room started to feel a bit colder. As I was about to hide under the covers, I heard someone whisper, "I'm here," next to me, and I ran towards the light switch, but the lights wouldn't come on, and I kept flipping the switch repeatedly. I saw something standing on the other side of me in the front of the window. I swear I can read this thing, it's just like really worded. It had a human shape, human-like shape to it. I knew it wasn't there before I started to panic as I ran over to the door again, and I tried my hardest to open the door. I pulled as hard as I could, but it wouldn't budge. And then I heard that whisper coming from behind me saying, "Now it's your turn." As the room got even colder, to the point where I could see fog coming from my breath. I suddenly feel like an immediate pain down my back, which felt like a knife stabbed my spine. I fell to the floor screaming in pain as I started to cry for my parents. I slowly looked up and saw that figure standing over me. I backed up against the door as that thing raised one of his arms and swung in front of me. I yelled again as I felt another scar across my chest. I screamed for help, but as I started to get dragged towards the middle of the room, I was hoping that this was all just a nightmare that I'll awake from as soon as I felt a tremendous force pinning me to the floor. I felt the pains of those scars on my back and chest as I lied on the floor staring at the ceiling, as I felt more tears run down my face. There isn't a word good enough to describe the level of fear that I felt that night. The air above me began to feel colder and heavier to the point where it got harder to breathe. I saw 9 glowing orbs appear one by one as I found myself thinking that I was going to die that night. Soon the dark figure started to manifest right above me, taking form of what I call Reaper Megaman as he stares me down with that same evil grin he had in the game. I still remember that deep laughter in his voice telling me I was going to be his 10th soul as the air around me got thicker. As soon as I started to lose consciousness from the lack of air, the last thing that came to my mind was the regrets of not being there for my friend sooner to stop him from ever finding that code and how much I missed him. Soon I started hearing sirens in the distance before I passed out. I awoke to find myself in a hospital bed hooked up on life support, almost the same way as my friend. When I heard footsteps, I thought my parents were gonna come through the door, but it turned out to be the doctor instead. He looked at me and said, "I'm glad you're finally awake. I thought we lost you for good," as he started to examine my condition. He told me when the police found me, I was on the floor, barely alive, covered with deep scratches and cuts all over my body. The neighbors called the police after they heard me screaming for help. He also told me that I had been unconscious for almost 4 months. When I asked them When I asked if he knew where my parents were, the doctor had a very sad expression on his face as he made a deep sigh, and that's when I knew they were dead because the only other time I seen that expression was the day my friend died. A few weeks later, I started having these violent hallucinations of seeing Reaper Man. We're almost at the end. Of Reaper Megaman trying to take my soul away while I tried to sleep. I would wake up in the middle of the night screaming at him to go away, but when I tried to show anyone that he's standing in front of me, they thought I was crazy because I would be the only one who could see him. It got so bad I accidentally attacked one of the doctors, thinking that he was Reaper Megaman trying to kill me again. I was moved to a psychiatric hospital for nearly 3 years of therapy just so I could sleep for more than 30 minutes without screaming that he's gonna kill me. It has been over 8 years now, and since then I'm still taking medication to keep me from seeing it everywhere I go, and 2 pills of Xanax so I can sleep. About 2 months ago, I decided to go to the cemetery where my friend was buried to pay my respects, and so I can talk to someone else other than myself and my psychiatrist. I was about to leave when I noticed the dates on his grave were kind of familiar. The dates of when he was born and died were 1992 to 2004. Then it hit me. Those were the exact numbers on the cheat code he found. It seems strange that the code somehow predicted the year he was going to die. I spent months looking for the site he found, but I couldn't find any trace of it anywhere. My whole life has been filled with nothing but loneliness, depression, and paranoia as I continue to watch my back, fearing that real or hallucination. I know he's still out there waiting for me, and eventually he would kill me and add my soul to his collection. Alright, good lord. I did not think this creepypasta was going to be this long. My voice is killing me. My lord. Alright, so, first thing off the bat. Dude, please, when you're going to make your creepypasta, please double check your spelling. Because, my lord, it is so hard. It is so hard that, like, to read this while trying to, like, substitute the words, the proper words. Ugh, God. And I feel bad for you because you're playing the worst Mega Man. You're playing Battle Network 4. Alright, I don't care what no one says. Battle Network 4 is, like, one of the worst ones because of the whole stupid tournament arc thing. And, like, the fact that you have to play the game 3 different times to essentially get everything. Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah, I mean, imagine this was real though. Like, imagine if Megan, Ayo Capcom, if y'all ever made Battle Network 7, you kind of use something like this, just flush it out a little bit more. But you could do something like this. It'd be a banger. I'd be here for it. But there you go. There goes my one Halloween reading, because I don't even know how long this video is going to be, and my voice hurts so much. So I'll do this one, just this one. But yeah, thank you for listening, watching, however you're doing this, and yeah, have a very safe Halloween. Actually, let's read some of these comments, because as I ended the video, my mouse kind of moved on its own. So let's read some of these comments. Creepier and better than Sonic.exe, Candle Cove, and others. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's probably better than Sonic.exe, but Candle Cove and others? What others? No. No. Bro, I don't know what creepypastas you have read, but there are a million ones better than this one. It said there are 9 souls. Does that also mean that? All right. I never knew this game was in the GameCube. I thought this was primarily in the. Yeah, me too. I thought you could only play this on Game Boy, but whatever. What I would do: avoid the demonic chip, turn off the console, talking to Mega Man in my mind. Talk to the net OP of. Bro, this is not. It's not even creepy. It's edge. Oh my god. Bro, Boundless Report is already creepy on how bad it is. I have an alternative ending where Lamb blames the player for using that dark chip before Mega Man kills him. Talking with Mega Man, the player is behind it all. Mega Man said, I will break up the game and stop that bastard from causing it. But Mega Man is dark and Mega Man comes down and creates a big explosion of world restarter, causing the world to... What? What does that even mean? Of world restarter. What? What does that even mean? What does that mean? You want Mega Man to be like Whis? What? That's not a good alternative. That's not a good alternative. No. No. I like how Mega smashed roll. The birds are not happy with this one, man. The hoes are not gonna love this. First of all, Hub is alive because like he's in Mega Man, so he came back to life. Like if he came out, but also where was Proto Man? He was the best character ever. He would whoop Mega Booty Man. Thank you for your time. Next time, try not to be so literal. You made me lose the brain cells. I don't want to be rude, but yeah, no, this thing was so hard to read because like of having to like try to figure out what they meant. Oh my god. Oh man, that's funny. Wow, great. When did this come out? Rename your section headers. Great story, but no. No, this is not the best Mega Man creepypasta. I can promise you. I haven't read any besides this one, but I can promise you this is not the best one. All right. Well, we've read the comments. So when did this come out? I don't think it says. No, it doesn't say. Okay. No, this belongs in like the bad creepypastas. But anyway, yeah. But I didn't even realize that Mutahar even had like his own wiki to read stuff. Anyway, yeah. All right, now we're done with the video. Have a wonderful, safe Halloween, and I'll catch you on the next one.